We are live. Welcome, everybody, to Hump Day Hangouts, episode 217, also known as the first Hump Day Hangouts of 2019. So, got to get used to saying that. I always screw it up for the first 2 or 3 weeks. But anyways, thanks for joining us. And we got almost full crew here today. So, going to go down the line here and say hello, do some quick introductions, and then we will get into it. So, Chris, you're first on my list today here. How you doing?
Doing good. Woohoo to the new year.
Good. You back home? Or are you still up in the mountains, or where are you at?
Yeah, I'm back home at the moment. I gotta crank out some work and start the year productive, like most people. How about you?
Yeah, I had these grand plans. I took last week completely off, went almost off the grid, not completely, but tried to stay away from the computer and all that jazz. And then Sunday I got sick, and I had this awesome week planned, all the stuff to do. I was going to get right back into it. I was excited, and then it's just been like motivation has been down here. So it's turning into an inconvenient 2-week vacation. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, Marco, how about you? How you doing?
I'm talking to a muted mic. What's up, man? Doing good. Starting off the new year really good. Ton of projects, as you know. We got a whole bunch of awesome things coming to MGYB and coming to our, first and foremost, our mastermind members, and then it goes to everyone else on our our followers and other members then get access before it goes public. Membership has its privileges, as we always say. Another thing that I'm really looking forward to is on the 14th. Guys, mark it on your calendar. Monday, January 14th, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm doing an entity webinar. As a caveat, right? The only way that you can have access to that webinar is by donating to my charity. And in this, I'm calling it the end game. And what this is all about, what other people just refuse to tell you because they want to give you information piecemeal, and they want to lead you down the road, but they don't want you to have all of the information. Well, what I'm doing is I'm giving everyone all of the information. I'm giving everybody the why this all needs to take place. That's the end game. What we're after, so that Google can give you all the love possible. And so that's on, again, Monday, January 14th at 3 p.m. Eastern. It's the end game, the entity webinar. Donate. It's for a good cause.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll have some more information about how you can do that shortly. Probably starting next week, we'll get out some information to everybody so you can get on that, because you definitely do not want to miss out on that. Real quick, Bradley, how are you doing?
I'm great, man. You said that you screw up for a couple weeks, 2019.
Yeah.
I always screw up when I'm writing a check. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I always screw up, and then I have to either scribble it out and initial it or void the check and write a new one. It always pisses me off because I do that for the first whole month, really. So, but other than that, I'm really excited too. We're gonna hit 2019 running. We've got major big goals that we're working on currently. The GMB asset building and all that kind of stuff, and we're looking to really provide more and more done for you services and MGYB, and a lot of those are in development now. Training, virtual assistants in order to be able to fulfill those services for you guys. So we just got a lot of stuff coming up. It's going to be a really good year. As Marco said, the mastermind members are, we've kind of restructured that as well. And we have clear direction this time. Finally, after all these years, I think we've got a really clear direction for new members, whether you're starting out or already got a business and you're just trying to scale it and grow it. It's just really a lot of good things that we are implementing this year. So looking forward to it. And this is the start of a big sprint for the next 12 months. So
definitely. And we'll do it our way, break it down, do it 90 days, and then down to the week, and then day by day, right? Eat the frog. So good deal. Well, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who took us up on some great offers over the holidays, whether it's MGYB sales, and then those of you who decided to join the mastermind. That's awesome. We're really glad to have you guys in there and getting through that. So really awesome that we had everyone do that. That's a great investment for 2019. But With that said, if you're new to Semantic Mastery and you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I want to first say thanks for watching. Whether you're watching us live or you're catching the replay, come check these out. Whether you're in our mastermind, you're not, you're in different groups or not, just come ask these questions. Be part of the community, get your questions answered every week. You can always go to semanticmastery.com/HD questions. And like I said, if you're watching the replay, even though you post them on the page, you can come back and check out the replay if you're traveling or whatever the deal is and you can't watch us live. But then if you're also wondering where to start with us, Battle Plan is a place to start. All right, just go to battleplan.semanticmastery.com. That'll fill you in on the rest of the details. But it's repeatable processes to get you results. All right, that's the bottom line. And then if you're already, you're in digital marketing, you're in the local game, you want to really take things up, you want to be part of a like-minded community, then the mastermind is the place to be. And you can find out more about that at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. All righty. So let me check my notes here. I've got a little bit of a head cold that's messing with me and slowing me down here. I did want to mention something coming up next week. For those of you who remember in, Bradley, was that October or November when the Side Hustle Toolbox came out, the stack?
Yes.
Yes. We'll go with that. It was in the fall timeframe. Yeah. So those guys have put together another one, and they asked me to contribute. So I was happy to do that. Carrie put together one, an info stack, and it's more around the productivity, mindset, self-development kind of area, and the idea being, start 2019 off to a good start. So I've gotten a sneak peek at some of the stuff that's in there. It looks like some really good stuff. I'm happy with the one I made. The short course I put together for it, basically about freeing up a lot of your time and how you can literally create about 115 hours out of 30 minutes over the next year. So stuff like that. So if you're looking to really make some improvements in whether it's your business, your life, relationships, whatever it is in 2019, then this is going to be something cool that we're going to share with everybody. Just like the last one, there's, several thousands of dollars worth of products that they're putting together. And then you get access to it all for just a ridiculously low price. And I don't know exactly what that's going to be at, but I believe what was the one we took part in was like $47.
Yeah, it was over $4,000 worth of training, products and courses and stuff in the Side Hustle Toolbox is what it was called. And I think with the coupon that they had during the launch week and all that, you get it for basically $50. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah, just big value bomb. So we'll be sharing that information with everybody. So it's something I talk about too with all of these is like, take the best, leave the rest. Any one of these things is worth $47. So if you look through it and you think that one of them is worth it, grab it. Don't get lost in it. Pick the top ones, the ones you think are going to help you go through it, put it to use. Don't worry about, drowning in too much. Just grab it, pick the ones that are going to work for you, put it to use and move forward. So cool. All right, guys. Anything else?
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. That's how we keep this free.
We recently just passed 6,000 subscribers, and those are organic subscribers. So we appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel. And yes, definitely subscribe if you haven't already. That way you get notified. We chop these Hump Day Hangouts up into individual Q&A videos and post them out too. So it's funny, but I was looking in if we look in the dashboard, excuse me, I was looking in, we have I think, I'm going to pull it up right now. Stand by for a minute because I think this is crazy. I was in the analytics the other day for our channel. Yeah, we've got 2,590 videos in our channel. It's crazy. So, by the way, in case you guys didn't know, you can go to our channel, youtube.com/semantic mastery, and then use the channel search feature and type in your question. And a lot of times you'll find an answer because we've previously answered it on a Hump Day Hangout. And since we put timestamps in the video descriptions of the Hump Day Hangouts, and then we also chop up the individual Q&As, a lot of the times you'll just go to find the channel search function will lead you directly to an answer. So in case you weren't aware of that, you may want to check that out too. All right, if that's cool, guys, I'm going to go ahead and jump into questions. Is everyone good?
Let's do it.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Dustin or Dabby is up. He says, Joe Bros. He must have meant yo. I don't know. Anyways, he says, Happy New Year. I would like to know if you are also able to verify GMB listings in Germany with the MGYB service. I can't answer that. Marco, can you?
As far as I know, we can verify just about anywhere in the world. The European Union is a little problematic. Your best bet is to write to support at mgyb.co, and they will give you the right answers.
There you go. Sam's up. What's up, Sam? He says, Happy New Year. I'm going to make a small affiliate site dedicated to reviewing one product. It's for launch jacking, but I want it to rank long-term too. Can you advise on off-page strategy for this type of site? IFTTT network plus RYS stack. Thanks. Well, I don't really do much affiliate stuff anymore. And when I did, it's kind of hard in my opinion. And again, I'm not going to be the best one to give you advice on affiliate stuff because I just don't do much of it. But I can tell you, affiliate site that is for just one product, I don't think is the best idea, Sam. Only because you gain more traction over time with a site that you're going to continually post to and update. And unless you're going to be continually updating this one small affiliate site, as you mentioned, about one product, if you're going to continue to add content to it, then it would make sense to have like a syndication network, right? Because you'd be constantly adding, publishing content, reviewing products or whatever. That's why I said, let me back up for a minute. Typically, some of the best affiliates that I've met, like for example, Jeff Lenny. Jeff Lenny is a really good affiliate marketer. Okay. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Jeff Lenny, but he's somebody that you could model. He's got basically an authority type review site that he's built for reviewing products and such. And that's typically how I've seen most people get long-term traction with affiliate sites, is especially if you're just reviewing products, is to create some sort of product review site that you're going to continually update. That's going to keep it fresh, right? That's going to help you to develop authority over time. The problem with a single product type site is that it's hard to build authority with that. And it's also hard to continue content marketing about that one particular product. So they don't ever really gain a lot of authority. Now, depending on how competitive it is, you may be able to just throw up a one-page site or whatever and rank it and do very, very well, especially with launch jacking because it's a new product, right? So it typically means there's not a lot of competition because the product name is a new name, right? There's not a lot of competition for it yet. But that's why I'm saying, again, when I was doing launch jacking stuff, we were able to get some really good traction with just YouTube videos and press releases. And press releases were one of the big parts of it. But we did a lot of YouTube spam and press releases and RYS stacks. Yeah, drive stacks work great for launch jacking because, again, they're new terms usually, new search queries, right, that you can optimize for. But again, like I said, long term, if you want it to rank long term, I would recommend that you go with a branded affiliate site, something that you create a brand. It could even be Sam Bailey, you know what I mean? And then just review products, consistently, and that's how you will end up gaining traction over time. But again, I'm not going to be the best person to give you advice on affiliate stuff because I just don't do it. Marco or anybody, you guys want to comment on that at all?
I totally agree with you. It's brand plus keyword association when it comes to launch jacking, right? And then he wants it long term. Well, what's going to keep it long term is if Google gives it that association long term, right? If it starts to associate the brand with whatever keyword it is that he's pursuing. In this case, it's whatever product or whatever small affiliate that he's trying to do. That's what he's going to have to do. Now, yeah, of course, RYS is going to work, but you're going to have to keep adding power to that drive stack. You can't just do a simple drive stack and expect that, although it has happened, Virginia SEO. Yeah. You can't expect to stay at the top when you have all of these people trying to rank for that and doing things every day to try to take you on. It means that you have to continue adding information and images and video and whatever it takes to stay on top. So yes, drive stacks, press releases, we've had great success, link building, everything in conjunction.
Yeah. And I mean, also, one thing you might want to consider, I had a lot of success with driving traffic, especially for launch jacks, using Google Ads or, formerly AdWords, because it's a new product and there's a ton of SEOs that, like, again, when I did some launch jacking training for what we used to have was we used to have something called the master class, and I did several launch jacking projects, sites, you know, or campaigns, excuse me, during that training. And we did really well with each time we did launch jacking. But one of the things I started to do was set up YouTube, or excuse me, YouTube ads as well, but Google ads from search. And that tends to work really well too, because again, I was trying to launch jack affiliate, internet marketing products, right? So other internet marketing training products, or WordPress plugins, or whatever, you know, just other IM type products. And so you'd end up competing with a bunch of other people trying to launch jack too. And it's a time consuming process to set up launch jacking. Like I even had developed, you know, some processes for some VAs, and we were targeting, you know, various IM products when they would launch, and we would publish a press release and all that kind of stuff. And it would work fairly well. But like I said, it was so much easier just to set up a good, what you call a bridge page. Don't ever say that to Google Ads though. But it's really a bridge page where you basically set up a landing page that you could do a review of whatever product it is you're trying to promote. Make sure it's a well done landing page though, that is content rich. In other words, it could have a video, but also have good text on it, to where it's not a blatant just affiliate type page. If you're adding value, and Google Ads will, you know, they'll suspend an ad if they think that it's a low quality page or a thin content page that is only used to promote an affiliate link. But I've had many landing pages that were, again, they're bridge pages. Don't ever say that to Google, but they're bridge pages where all I was doing was promoting an affiliate offer, but I fleshed it out well. And because of that, it would stick, and Google Ads would accept it. And then I could drive traffic using Google Ads for really inexpensive, because it's a new product name, right? It's a new keyword. So there's not a lot of people competing. Again, for launch jacking, you'll get a ton of SEO, a lot of IMers that will try to launch jack doing various spam and SEO stuff. But very few target using Google Ads, at least in my experience. A couple years ago, it's been a couple years since I've done any of this. And so I found it to be a lot easier and more efficient to skip all the SEO stuff and just set up Google Ads for launch jacking. And that tended to work really, really well, because you know, I could cut what used to take me, if I was going to develop out the launch jacking campaign and do all the work myself, which I used to do, it would take me sometimes 2 days to really develop all the stuff out. I'm talking about the video spam, ordering the press releases, you know, setting up a WordPress site, or at least a page or a landing page or whatever. All that kind of stuff was a real pain in the ass to set up. And then once I trained VAs, even then it was still a lot of work. And I was paying, you know, even if I had a VA that would set up an entire campaign, a launch jack campaign in a day, I'd still be paying that VA for a day's worth of work. Whereas I could just go in to AdWords or Google Ads now, right? I could go into Google Ads and set up a campaign in a matter of 20 minutes, right? After I built the landing page. And then traffic could start within hours. Once the ad gets approved, traffic can start immediately. And so, and then it was just like, as soon as the launch was over or the shopping cart closed or whatever, then I could just turn the ad off and I'm done. You know what I mean? I made my money and I'm good to go. And so that I found to be more efficient, Sam. So what I'm saying is you could do a combination of both. If you're trying to have something that's going to rank long-term, then I would recommend, like what Marco said, is that you're going to have something that you're going to update with content regularly. That's why I recommend, you know, having a syndication network if you're going to do like a review site where you're going to review more than one product. But you could jumpstart your traffic with Google Ads, you know, at least initially, and get placed right at the top of the page, right? So you might want to check into that as well. Okay. Something else I like about that, Sam, remember, if you're driving people to a landing page, whether you do it with SEO or Google Ads, always try to build a list too. So instead of just pointing people like from that page direct to the affiliate offer, try to put them through an opt-in gateway somehow, so that you can build a list, because you got to think about it. Also, make sure you're using remarketing, Sam. Even if you decide not to do Google Ads for this affiliate campaign, I would still make sure that you have Google Tag Manager added to your landing page or your site, depending on how you're going to build it out, and make sure that you create a remarketing list, because Depending on, if it's an offer that's going to be an evergreen product or whatever that's available for purchase beyond just the launch window, then you can build a remarketing list, even if somebody doesn't opt in, right? So if you put an opt-in on the bridge page to try to collect email addresses so that you can market to them via email at a later date, that's great. You should still try to do that. But even if you don't get somebody to opt in, if they land on your page, now you've cookied them and they're on a remarketing list. So you can still market to them. And if you know what particular product or service it is that, they landed on that page, there's an interest in that product or service, then you could potentially even serve ads to them via remarketing for other similar type products, right? And so all my point is, you absolutely, without beyond a shadow of a doubt, you should try to collect emails via opt-in if possible. But at the very least, if you're driving traffic, you should be building a remarketing list, because that way you can continue to market to that visitor that would have otherwise been a lost visitor if they didn't purchase or opt in. Does that make sense? So anyways, definitely, that's a good idea. I'm using remarketing for everything, guys. I love it. Like, it's great. I mean, even for local stuff that I'm doing, the remarketing it's so powerful, guys, and it's so inexpensive compared to cold PPC. Steve says, Happy New Year, and thanks to the Semantic team for these Hump Day Hangouts. Looking forward to another great year. Thanks, Steve. We appreciate that. As Google phases out the Google shortener, closing March 30th, the replacement is Firebase Dynamic Links, which, in addition to a link destination, can also have a built-in title, description, and image for social media. What are your thoughts on these? Will you use these in place of Google? Are there any SEO advantages from keywords and title, description, image, exif data? Thanks. Well, Marco looked into that several months ago or a year ago now, when they first announced that Google URL shortener was going to be shutting down eventually. But one of the problems with the Firebase links is they're all 302s. Is that correct, Marco?
Not necessarily.
Okay. Can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah, you can make them 301.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Yes, you can.
Okay. You're short answers today, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not. Go read all of the shit that I read through to find that. Okay. I'm not giving it away.
Okay. Well, there you go, Steve. I tried. So yeah, okay. So it was my understanding, because I remember Marco talking about this, I was unaware that you could make them 301. I'm not sure how you do it, Steve. But I have not researched this at all, because as far as I was aware, they were 302 links, and I said, well, that kills that. So, but yeah, just go do some more research, I suppose. I tried to give you a better answer, Steve. I'm sorry I couldn't. Scott,
but, I mean, just to add a little bit to that, we're going to have our own shortener in MGYB. It should be ready by Friday, if not sometime next week, and then we'll do tests and make it public before Google phases out their shortener, and then we'll just power up our own. I mean, and that's what you should do, because that's what I mean. We're not going through Firebase, but Firebase allows you to do that, right? To set up your own link shortener.
There you go. There's some benefits to doing that too, because you can power up your own domain that way too. So, Scott Walker, what's up, Scott? He says, I have a client whose business has 3 locations. Should I use schema markup with all locations on all pages, then use just the specific schema for one location on the individual location city pages? No, Scott. If you have a business with 3 locations, there's really one type of markup either that you should use is what's called organization markup, or another substitute that will also work is called corporation markup. So either corporation markup or organization markup would be listed on either the site header of the main domain. Most multi-location businesses are going to have a root domain, right, guys? And then they're either going to have location pages for each individual location, right, which are inner pages of the root domain, or maybe perhaps subdomains with each, with a WordPress install or an HTML page for each location on subdomains. It's usually going to be one or the other. So with organization or corporation markup, you can put that in the site header. If you're using JSON-LD markup, you can put it in the site header, and that can be across like a global site header. In other words, it goes across all pages, which in organization markup, you're talking about the corporation itself, right? The entity, the main corporate entity. And then you can list the individual locations, but on the individual location pages, whether they're inner pages or on subdomains, however you have that worked out, those should only have local business markup for that particular location. So organization markup can go either across the globally across the site in the header, except for on individual location pages, or you can just put organization markup on the locations page, which lists all of the locations, but then there would be a link that clicks through to the individual location landing page, right? Or you could have it on a contact page or an About Us page. And that's per Google's recommendations, by the way, guys. So I would definitely look into that. Also, there was something else. Let me pull this up. I just had this up earlier today. Organization schema Google. There we go. There's an SEMrush article right here. This is a really good one. This is where I learned. This is what actually where I stumbled across the ad ID page stuff that I basically developed from this article. Way back in February of last year is when I had talked about the local iframe loop and syndication academy, and I got that idea. That idea was sparked from this article right here on SEMrush. Okay, and so essentially, if you scroll down here, you'll see there's organization. This is corporation markup here, but then there's the organization markup, which you can select which type. Okay, so that's how you get a bit more specific. And then local business schema. Okay, that's where you would go all the way down to the individual location. And if you scroll down here, it talks about ad ID page and all that kind of stuff. So this is a really good article. I'm going to drop this on the page. I would recommend that you spend some time kind of going through here and reading this. Okay. And by the way, Scott, if you're in the mastermind, Mohammed, which I think you are, Mohammed actually just had posted a very similar question in the Facebook group, and I answered it, and I gave some live examples there of how I have it on some of my sites. So go check the Facebook group for the mastermind, and you should find that thread and read through it. You'll see some examples of some of my own properties where I have organization markup with individual locations and all that kind of stuff. Keep moving. Michael, what's up, Michael? This is Happy New Year, dudes. Short GMB question. If building multiple GMB sites in the same geographical area and I want to build a brand, is it better to use city plus brand name, so brand name in the name so that Google doesn't see it as a spam site? I was going to use the same name for each location, but MGYB customer service suggested I do not do it that way. How do you do it? Thanks. Okay, I'm not sure why that advice was given to you, because if I've got several assets that are in the same city, right, with the same city name, but they may be different zip codes, I still use the same name for all locations, because the other data points within the NAP are going to be unique, right? And if you're trying to build a brand, a pseudo brand anyways, then I recommend you keep all the names the same. It makes it easier. The problem with creating trying to create a different brand for each location is that it sucks. It's a lot of additional work, right? And so one of the things I've done, as you probably know, Michael, or anybody that's been through Local Lease Pro or in the mastermind, they know, like, I'll use a pseudo brand like Local Tree Pros, for example, right? Or something like that. And then I'll just name it City Tree Pros as the actual location name. But if I've got, let's say, 3 assets in the same city, but they're they're in different zip codes, then I would name it that, like, let's just say Culpeper Tree Pros. Let's use that as an example, right? There's only 1 zip code in Culpeper, but let's just say that I had 3 different locations in Culpeper for Culpeper Tree Pros. Then what I would do is I would have all 3 of them named Culpeper Tree Pros, but the physical address when the verification occurred, right, when to get the GMB verified, the physical address would be unique. The phone numbers are all going to be unique. The web addresses are all going to be unique. So even if the name is the same, that's perfectly okay, because the other data points are unique. right? So I'm not sure why MGYB customer support would have said not to do that. And that's something, Marco, maybe you and I should chat about with whoever gave that advice, because I want to make sure that we are giving a a standard answer to everybody. And so, Michael, in my opinion, I would still go with the city name, or excuse me, with just the brand name. Or if you're doing city plus brand name, if that's how you're naming your GMB assets, then if you have multiple locations within the same city name, do like I mentioned, you're going to have unique data points for the NAP other than the name. So it should be okay. I've never had any issues with that, guys. I've got many, many, many clients as well as lead gen assets out there, guys, that are multi-location. They share the same name, and I've never had any issues with them. The only time that there's issues is if you share the same phone number or if you share the same web address, which, again, I've seen problems where people have multiple locations and they share the homepage URL of their website as the landing page URL for their GMB assets. That's wrong. That creates NAP inconsistencies, right? That ambiguates data, and that causes problems. If you're going to have the same name and you're going to use inner pages, or like, for example, like if it was one company and they have just one domain, they don't have separate domains for each location, then you should use the location page, which is a separate landing page on the domain for each location, as the website URL in the GMB listing, because that makes it a unique URL per listing. Does that make sense? So that's my advice to you, Michael. Marco, do you have any suggestions on that or anything different to say?
No, it's just the way that Rob recommends it, and it's something that we found that works really, really well at just getting tons of calls.
What's that? Putting the city name?
By putting different names within the geolocation, within the geographical area.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't tested because again, the reason why I haven't tested that is because I don't want to have to create new brands. You know what I'm saying? Like every time, if I want to go with one type of pseudo brand that I can scale, and that way I don't have to come up with a different brand name each time. And if I've got 3 assets in one city, I don't want to have 3 brands. Does that make sense, guys? So that's why I do it that way. It's more of an efficiency thing for me because we're scaling so much. It would be very difficult to continually come up with new brand names and new logos and all that shit. It would be an enormous amount of work. So Andrea says, how will we be invited to your webinar on the 14th? Well, if you donate, you'll get an email with the notification.
No, if he's on our list, he'll be notified what it is that he needs to do. If he isn't, then how you do it is you donate, then you contact support at semanticmastery.com and get all the information that you need.
Okay, there you go. Jordan's up. What's up, Jordan? He says, any insider news? I know you all are tight from Jeffrey Smith on when the new version of Ultimate SEO is coming out. No, it's I can follow up with him, no, Jordan, and find out. Let me make a note of that, because I actually asked him about it just last month, or in December just last month. I asked him specifically about it because we were talking about it in a webinar somewhere, and I wanted to promote it. And I was asking if he had the new one out yet, and he didn't. He said he was working on it, though. So I think it's going to be out this month at some point, but it might be February. Just make a note of it. Hold on, guys. Plug in launch date. All right. I'll find out. I'll find out. And Greg Drebert, if you're on and you know, because you're real tight with Jeffrey, you can always post and let us know if you know when the launch date is. And you look like you are live, Greg. So if you can shed any insight, that would be great. If not, I'll reach out to Jeffrey and find out, Jordan, and I'll ping you back either in the Syndication Academy Facebook group or next week on Hump Day Hangouts. Okay. Jim says, ass. Okay. That's quite a way to start a question. I was in the process of typing out a bit of a long specific question and the browser refreshed, losing it all. Let's try again, but shorter. Yeah, by the way, if you're at like the 59 mark on the clock right before the webinar starts, when it turns to the 0, the top of the hour, yeah, the page refreshes automatically for Google event pages. So yeah, next time type your question out in a text file or notepad file first, That way, if that happens, you don't lose it. Don't you hate that? Okay, hey, SM gang, Happy New Year. I have a question about whether SM techniques work with non-local, more niche clients. Non-local, more niche clients. Marco might be the man to ask because he doesn't give a fuck. You say that the techniques should work for any niche, but has anyone tried them with a non-brick and mortar adult client? Chris, if Chris is on, he used to do a lot of that kind of work. As in a client that operates one or more adult content websites that are based on the brand rather than the business. In most cases, there probably wouldn't be GMB to work with. Does G treat adult sites differently when it comes to these mainstream tactics? I've never done anything in the adult industry. I know Chris has. Chris, if you're still on, do you have any insight? Is Chris still on?
No, I don't. I think he and Adam dropped.
Okay. All right. Well, Marco, can you share? I've never done anything in the adult industry at all. So.
No. I mean, I haven't. Okay. Well, I did, but that was just way back in the day. I had a client. Dude, I don't see why it wouldn't work. I mean, we saw, seriously, how we developed RYS Academy and RYS Academy Reloaded is that we found a document ranking in Google, and it was full of just porn links and just porn stuff. And it was ranking like crazy, the GDoc. It's one of the things that sent Dr. Gary down the rabbit hole and sent me into thinking how to put it all together into one cohesive unit to push all of that power over to whatever it was that we were trying to rank. And so if a GDoc ranks for porn, there's no reason why anything else shouldn't. I'm just reasoning it out. It's not something that I'm going to try because I don't have a client to do it with. But Jim, I mean, this is a test in the making. And as far as a GMB, why wouldn't you try to? This is what my webinar is going to be all about on Monday the 14th. Why wouldn't you want or try to create the entity for this so that it's just clear with Google what it is, what all the assets are, where they are, and they all belong to one brand, and you try to the brand plus keyword association. I don't see why it would be any different. Of course, it would be filtered for adults, but I mean that's your market anyway.
Yeah, but actually, like, because I was just thinking business category for the GMB. Guys, they do have media company as a business category. So you could set up a GMB listing for that brand and label it, you know, for the GMB business category as a media company, right? And I don't know that would be filtered out unless it had something offensive in the title of the business name, the GMB profile name, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I can't shed more light on that. I just don't, Jim, if that's a question that you would like answered more, I can always post, or, you know, with a better answer, I could always ask Chris P to shed some insight, because I know he did a lot of work in the adult industry for a while. I don't know if he still does or not, but he did for quite some time. So he might be able to give you some pointers too. So Jim, you might even want to post this question in whatever group you're a member of, Facebook group for Semantic Mastery. And then that way we could get some comments going on over there. I'm sure there's probably some others that have done adult content stuff that could probably help out too. I'm sorry, I can't give you, I've got zero experience doing any marketing for adult content sites, guys.
Yeah. Too bad Jason Quinlan has gone underground, or he'd be perfect to answer this. But I'm looking at the categories right now in Google, and they have one for adult DVD store, adult entertainment club, adult entertainment store. So if they allow you to verify that, I mean, just look for the category. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to verify something along those lines and then build your entity that way. See which one fits. If none of them fits, go general.
Yeah. Media company. That's why I was just thinking, Jim, if you were dealing with like online website stuff, a media company might be a good category too. Anyways, check it out. Post in one of the other groups, one of the groups that you're a member of, and see if you can get some other people that may have some experience, Jim, to comment. Happy New Year to you as well, Scott. Andrea says, thanks for the affiliate marketing tips, Bradley. You're welcome. Jim says, one more quick question for SM or anyone else on here. Does anyone on here buy the annual OMG Machines package? It rings in at 5K, so it's not for everyone. Is the information worth the cost? Something that can be implemented into an SM strategy? Thanks. I do not. I was a member of OMG when that's how I got introduced to Network Empire. It was back in like 2012 to 2013. So for 1 year, I was in OMG. And then I got introduced to Network Empire at the OMG live event. I think it was their first one. It might have been their second one. But Network Empire was there, and that was where I kind of took the Syndication Academy at the time. It was, we called them IFTTT SEO Academy, and then kind of learned how to really power that up. And so, and part of the reason I got away from OMG stuff, and I'm not talking bad about anybody else out there, guys. That's not what this is about. But I got away from OMG stuff because it was mostly, at least back then, I haven't been a member for several years, but it was mostly about PBN stuff, like how to go out and buy really powerful domains and build PBNs and not create footprints and all that kind of stuff. And that works. That did work a lot better. But we found methods that I didn't like the whole PBN thing. I got tired of building private blog networks, or, you know, and building sites and trying to hide footprints, and it became more and more difficult and less effective without going through all of the, in other words, unless you went through all of the trouble on how to find really powerful domains that were relevant, and then how to set them up properly without footprints and all that kind of stuff, then they weren't as effective. If you did all those things right, then they could be really effective. But I found it become increasingly difficult. So I stopped doing PBN stuff and worked more on content syndication and the kind of stuff that I felt like was more long-term and more sustainable, which is why I went with going more the Network Empire route. And then we developed out our own products and our own stuff, you know, RYS Academy being one of them, right? And Local PR Pro and Local GMB Pro and all of these own methods that we've developed on our own that don't have absolutely nothing to do with PBNs. Nothing. Guys, we rarely even talk about external link building because we don't need to do it very often, right? And when I do now, I primarily just use press releases as my external link building method. So my point is, I don't personally, Jim, I wouldn't spend 5K on it, but that's just because we use our own methods, our own proprietary methods that tend to get us results without needing private PBNs. And again, I don't know that that's what they're about anymore, guys. I'm just telling you that that's why I got away from it. So, Jim, if anybody else wants to comment on that on the page, that's I'm certainly open to having people comment on what their thoughts are on there, guys. But please keep it civil. We're not here to pick fights with anybody. Don't start none, won't be none. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I don't have enough information to tell them one way or the other, and I wouldn't anyway. I wouldn't say, yeah, go spend 5K, or no, don't spend 5K. What I will tell you is, you know, as Bradley said, back in the day, that's what was done, that's what worked, and you know, you did it, and you moved on to the next and the next. Then came Network Empire, of course. Becker, we met inside one of his masterminds. So there's a bunch of information out there. But what I can tell you is that we did our own flavor. We did our own thing. If I need a PBN, I build a G site and a drive stack.
That's it.
And I add power to the G site and the drive stack. And I push all of that power the way that we teach it. Local PR Pro, Local GMB Pro, Local Lease Pro, the RYS Academy Reloaded. I mean, if you're not in RYS Academy Reloaded, I don't know why.
Yeah,
you're not in there.
Yep. So there you go. All right, Ken. Yeah, there you go. You got the donation link. Greg says that, Jordan. I just talked to Jeffrey. See, Greg, you're the man. Thanks, man. I knew you'd come through. You always do, Greg. Thank you. I just talked to Jeffrey. He'll throw in 5 extra licenses to the 89 5-pack for Mastermind members only. That's 10 total. Okay, so you get 10 licenses for $89 for the Ultimate SEO Plus plugin. That's the buy link. Then send them an email with the special I mentioned to get the extra 5 licenses. We'll be testing the new beta plugin this month. I thought that's what Jeffrey said. I remember like I said, just last month when I was chatting to him in Skype, he said something about January, so I didn't know if that was the launch or just the beta testing, Greg, but I appreciate you chiming in, Greg, as always. Thank you. So it's coming out soon, guys. If you're starting beta testing this month, it's coming out soon. Entertainment agency. There you go. There's another one. That must be another business category. Clients are clients and money is money. It's all the same work. Yeah, I agree, Jim. I mean, you know, I don't know. I've never been approached to do adult stuff. I'm not sure whether I would do it or not, you know, to be honest with you. You're right. Money is money. I don't look down on it or anything like that. So you're right. Client, it's all the same kind of work.
Yeah, it's just another niche. It's you go into whatever it is where you're going to get paid. That's how I see it.
Oh, we're almost. Look at this, guys. Post some more questions because we got 15 minutes left and we're almost out of questions. That's rare. So it's okay. It's only January 2. So Jordan says also if someone is a schema wizard and wants to make a little cash, hit me up. I have a large international travel site migrating to Epicenter CMS, and the dev team is installing schema but not using JSON LD. I need a set of eyes that gets the non-JSON LD type of schema to make recommendations. Yeah, Jordan, I would reach out. Ryan Rodden, Schema Pro, I think schema.pro, I think is it. This is it. Right here. Reach out. I'm going to post this link on the event page here, Jordan. But Ryan Rodden, he was a mastermind member for quite some time. I don't know if he's still in the mastermind or not, but he's a schema pro. Like he's got this site he set up specifically because he got tired of people asking him all the time questions of like how to, like, hey, would you look at my structured data? So he set this up and just like he said, yeah, I'll take a look at it. Go buy it here. So he'll either generate the code for you, or he'll do a structured data overhaul, or he'll review existing structured data and all that kind of stuff. You just have to purchase it. But anyways, Jordan, if you've got a big site or whatever, just reach out to him. See what he can do for you. Ryan Rodden for schema work. How am I referred you to, by the way? Or the Semantic Mastery referred you? Hey, where's my comment? There it is. All right. Scott Walker. I belong to OMG. Very nice people, but I agree with Bradley. Semantic Mastery is far, far ahead on local GMB, Google Maps techniques. Well, thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, like I said, guys, I don't know whether they do much with local stuff or not. I know at least back in many years ago now. I mean, you got to think that was 2012 to 13, I think, was when I was a member with them, and so that was shit. Not a long damn time ago. I don't know what they're doing now, to be honest with you. So you'd have to, Jim, decide on your own, really. There's not really much I can help you with on that.
I have a question for Jordan. Right. So there's 3 types of schema, or excuse me, structured data that you can go with, right? RDFA, microdata, or JSON LD. Google recommends JSON LD.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you go with what Google recommends? So now it's me asking a question during Hump Day.
Wow. So now we got to wait for the answer because there's latency, some delay. So
I didn't mean to do that, but I'd like to know why. Is it the CMS that doesn't allow for a certain type of structured data, or is it the client? Is it you? And if it's you, why? I mean, this raises a lot of questions, right? Since Google says we recommend JSON LD, this is the way you should do it. This is the way you should go. This is what the bot wants. This is what the bot is coded for. It'll understand all of the other, but I'm just wondering.
Yeah. Well, while we're waiting to see if Jordan replies, here he goes. That's what I want to argue. Use the freaking JSON. I agree, Jordan. Maybe
I can give him the page where Google recommends it.
Yeah, do that. Because then you could go show the web developers and the owners of the company. Say, here, this is Google saying you should use JSON LD. So why are we doing it the other way?
And we have Quentin just dropped something in there from South Carolina.
Hello, guys. I live in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm a full-time musician. I play drums and lead sing. I'm looking to be one of the first musicians in Charleston to really use SEO Google Ads the right way. Any suggestions? It's a really good question. That's a good question. I don't know. SEO and Google Ads. I'm trying to think of how you could do it with GMB stuff, but I don't think it'd be very difficult because as a musician, you're going to travel to different venues to perform instead of have like your own venue. You know what I mean? Most likely. So that would be difficult. But to use SEO and Google Ads, well, it depends. I mean, again, that's one I'd have to think through quite a bit, Quentin, because it's not something that I've done in the past. But I would probably think that you would want to just optimize for your name or your band's name, right? Either your name or your band's name or both, because or band or group or whatever. You say you play drums, so I'm assuming you're in a band. My point is, I would probably optimize for that because as people get to know who you are, they'll start searching for you or your band's name, right? And so I would optimize for that. I mean, you could go generally to start getting some exposure. Like, for example, you know, I don't really do searches for live, you know, for music in my town. So I don't really know what type of search queries people would look for. But you could start, for example, let's walk through this because we got a couple minutes. But go to Google Trends. That's where I would start because that's where I always start for any type of new industry, guys. Whenever I'm trying to figure out the best way to start marketing via SEO or even Google Ads at that point, I always start with Google Trends. Always. Okay. So come to Google Trends, and I don't know what kind of music you play because you didn't specify, but I don't know. Let's just see what live music brings up. So I just put live music in. By default, it's going to be set for United States, and it's going to show data for the past 12 months. But what I would do is I would narrow this down from maybe down to a city level. So you said Charleston. I'd start at a city level, but you might have to broaden it out a little bit. Charleston, South Carolina, right? That is what he said, right? Yeah, South Carolina. Okay. And then this is only for the past 12 months. Sometimes that won't be enough data, especially on just a city level. So you might want to pull it back to either the regional level or even to a state level, which I'll demonstrate that here in just a second. But something like right there, we've been talking about this for months now, guys. Ever since July 2018, the near me keywords are by far the most rapidly growing keyword or type of query, a near me query. And so that's where I'm starting for all my GMB assets now is I'm looking to do location research with near me keywords. That's where I start with my research. So this just goes to show you live music near me in just the past 12 months has had a 120% increase in search interest in Charleston, South Carolina. So specifically in that city, right? So my point is you could literally start optimizing for live music near me, right? That's a search query that could be optimized for. How do you do that, right? Because people ask me that all. Well, how do you optimize for near me keywords? It doesn't read naturally. Well, for example, with GMB posts, which Google My Business posts, we do a lot of, and again, I just mentioned that's where I start now is always targeting near me keywords because they're driving a ton of traffic right now. So we'll put in like the first line of the GMB post was, did you just search? And then we put in quotes, live music near me, ? Well, look no further. You just found it. And then you can spit out some details about the venue and your business or excuse me, the band. Obviously, you'd want to associate live music near me with your band name. So you'd want to make sure that your band name was present in that post, as well as maybe the venue that you're performing at, that kind of stuff. And so that way you're working that keyword directly into in a non-spammy way, right? Did you just search live music near me? Or just search live music near me? Or, you know, there's multiple ways you could reword that to where it still reads okay. So that's one way you could do it. Live music Charleston, obviously that's with the local modifier. These are just rising terms. If you take a look at the top terms, apparently that's it. But my point is you can start targeting with those as more of a general way to get people to introduce to who you and your band are, right? But then what I was saying was as your notoriety begins to increase, right? As you become more known in your local area and beyond,
then you would probably, I would recommend optimizing for your band's name or your name if you're the, you know, the lead or whatever. So that because people will begin to search for your name, right, through brand, and that's so you optimize for your brand name, and that way you come up and you can control really the conversation via Google about your brand, if that makes sense. That's reputation marketing 101, right? So I don't know. I would start there. Something else you could do, like I said, is back out a little bit. If you take a look at like South Carolina or 12 months, we could actually bring it back, like let's say 5 years, and that's going to should bring you some more. Live music, Charleston, South Carolina tonight. These are just rising terms. You look for top terms. Again, same thing. It didn't really add much. Something else you could do is let's bring it back to 12 months, but back it out from Charleston to the whole state level. Okay. And this should bring back some different data. It looks like it didn't really. There we go. If we look at top, Charleston live music near me, live music, Myrtle Beach, Greenville, South Carolina, is just a handful of them there. But, and again, guys, that was just one keyword, live music. I would try to figure out, like, if you're in a rock band, rock music, maybe, if, you know, whatever type it is, you could start, just use Google to start trying to identify the types of queries that people might be searching for, and then dig in or drill into those keywords more, right? Those search queries more. For example, let's do this. And then I know it's about time, but you could go to Google and search for, like, if I said live music, actually let's do live music, and it might not, yeah, it will. If I did live music near me, something else searches related to live music near me, right? So you could find other types of related search queries that people in Charleston, South Carolina are search for, that could give you additional ideas for stuff to optimize for, right? So that's what I'm saying. You can use trends and Google search to find all these types of related search queries and things that you can start to use in your content marketing to start getting exposure for those for your band. Does that make sense? So that's what I would do. Hopefully that helped you out a little bit. Okay, hey guys, when you just have a GMB via Local Lease Pro, is there any iframe stacking that can be done? Vince, yes. Go back and watch the updates. If you're in Local Lease Pro, go look at the update module that was just added last week, or it might have been 2 weeks ago now. And the updates module, I specifically put training in there for how to set up an ad ID page, which is iframe stacking essentially. So go take a look at that. That's in the updates module of the Local Lease Pro training. Okay. Everything you need is right there for you, Vince. Scott says, Marco, I just donated. Great of you to do this for school kids. Yes, it is. Thanks, Scott. Jordan says, idea for a band. If you know you have a fan base that likes a similar band, example Radiohead, work that angle as well. Yeah, that's true. It's true. Jim Wells, Marco, will I still be on the list from donating before? I wasn't sure if that carried over. It does, doesn't it, Marco?
No, it doesn't. This is a brand new webinar. Brand new information. Gotcha. Brand new donation.
Okay. There you go, Jim.
Come on, guys. It's for a good cause. I'm not asking you to donate $1 million, $5, $10, $25, whatever your heart tells you to donate. And then you listen to the information and let me know if it was worth it.
There you go.
And as for Jordan, he says that it's a huge international travel site, and that it's the devs doing it. You shouldn't let the devs do the SEO, Jordan. Ever. They think they know until you show them you don't know shit. Stick to coding and let me do my fucking job. Make it easier for me. And then just show that Google recommends Jason LD, and see where you can go. You know, I know that you're gonna get a lot of pushback because that's the way they want to do it, but it's not what you want to do. It's what you should do according to what Google is recommending.
There you go. Looks like we finished up right on time today, guys. Wow, that's a great way to start the year. That's rare. So we appreciate everybody being here. No mastermind webinar this week, but we will see you all next week for Hump Day Hangout. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, Marco, for hanging out.
All right, man. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.